They say a strong core protects your back, which sounds great, except it's not true.
You could have the world record for holding the longest plank or be able to do 100 sit-ups in a row. But if you can't do the hip hinge exercise properly, you will hurt your back. Even picking up something as light as a laundry basket, it's usually only a matter of time. My name is Jonathan. I'm a registered kinesiologist with Fitness for Freedom, and I use exercise to teach people how to move. 15 years ago, I herniated a disc in my back. It was so bad, I spent 2 weeks on the floor while it healed and over 6 months rehabbing it after that. But now, my back can handle relatively big weight. Except most people can't lift like this right away. Check that. Nobody can do this right away. Jumping to heavy weight first is like trying to write a novel before you've learned the alphabet. So today, I'm going to take you from this to this, and maybe even this, without hurting your back. It all starts with a good hip hinge. Done properly, this movement keeps your spine neutral, your abdominal muscles braced, and your discs protected. Let's go through how to do it. First, take a hip width stance, not wide like a squat, closer. We'll look at wider stances later. For now, we're learning the movement and need to understand how limiting your hamstring flexibility is going to be. Next, put your hands on your thighs, keep a soft bend in your knees. Now drive your hips back, letting your torso follow your hips, not the other way around. We want to see how low you can go, keeping that nice neutral spine through your back. The mistake most people make is they lean forward first, then try to push their hips back after. That rounds your spine and dumps the load onto your lower back. Instead, focus on pushing your hips back first and let your torso follow. You know you're doing this right when you feel a strong pull in your hamstrings, almost nothing in your lower back, and you may feel like you're about to fall backwards at the bottom. Most people just need to keep practicing, but if you're really struggling, here are a few tips. Bend your knees a little bit more, stand a few inches off a wall, and try to bump your bum against it. Keep moving out with each bump until you can't quite reach. Using a broomstick, hockey stick, or mop handle to actively push your hips back as a guide can help too. If you're still not sure, use a side view in front of a mirror. This will let you see how you're moving through your hips and if your spine is staying neutral. You'll know you're doing it right when you feel a really strong stretch in your hamstrings and like you're about to fall backwards at the bottom. If you still feel strain in your lower back, it's usually one of 3 things, and getting in front of the mirror will be really helpful. The first problem, you're still rounding your spine, which means you're still bending with your torso first. Keep practicing with the stick, try bending your knees more, and widen your stance slightly if you need to. The second problem is that you might be trying so hard not to let your lower back roll forward that you're forcing your lower back into overextension, which puts a lot of pressure on it. If this is happening, you really need a mirror to help guide you. Using the mirror, you'll be able to see that you don't have to force your chest up or out to keep your neutral spine. Try to relax and let your torso come forward. You just need to practice and be less afraid of hurting yourself. You're almost there. The third problem could be that you're doing everything right, you're just going too low at the bottom. This means there comes a point where you go down properly, but your hamstrings run out of flexibility for how low you can physically go, and you start rounding your lower back to try to get lower. I would go to the mirror again if you think this is happening and watch for the point at which your lower back starts to roll at the bottom. When you see this start to happen, I want you to always stop right before that point. For some of you, this will be very high up on your thighs, and for others, you'll almost be able to touch the floor. You'll know you're as low as you can go if you can't push your hips back anymore without falling backwards, and you'll have a really strong stretch in your hamstrings. Now we've covered the mechanics and your starting point, you're ready to lift. If your torso is almost parallel to the floor, or even past it with your maximum hamstring stretch, you'll be able to pick almost anything up off the floor. If you can't quite get parallel to the floor, you'll need to really bend your knees when doing this movement and work on your hamstring flexibility moving forward. If you want some extra help improving your hamstring flexibility, there's a link in the description of this video. But just doing this hip hinge exercise that I'm about to show you does help improve it. Make sure you stay to the end and I'll show you how to apply it where you need it the most, in your everyday life. To do the exercise, take a dumbbell on its end or a kettlebell, something that's easy to grab and has some weight to it. 10 to 25 pounds is usually a good starting point for most people, but err on the side of lighter if you're unsure. You can always get a heavier weight if it's too easy. Put it on the floor and stand over top of it so it's right in the middle of your stance. Now, just like we practiced, drive your hips back, letting your torso come forward, and bend your knees as much as you think it's necessary to get a hold of it. To come up, initiate the movement by lifting your torso first, keeping your spine neutral. Your body weight will very quickly shift to your legs. You won't have to think about it. Try to push evenly through your feet so you're not falling forwards or backwards, and you will naturally stand up. You don't need to overthink this part. If you've done the setup right and lowered yourself down properly, then doing this lifting part should feel natural. You should try to time your breathing so that you're exhaling on the way up. This will give you an abdominal brace that will further protect your back. If you're really struggling to reach the weight, try widening your stance and bending your knees even more. By widening your stance and bending your knees, this splits the difference between a squat and hinge and reduces the amount of hamstring flexibility that you need. If you still can't reach it without rolling your lower back, you'll know you're rolling your back because you'll feel it in your lower back. Then it's too low. Your hamstrings are too tight and you don't have the hip mobility to get down there yet. When this happens, raise the weight up on a box so that it's high enough you can do it properly. Use a weight you can do for 12 to 15 reps. Again, err on the side of lighter and keep practicing. Then, as your mobility improves, you get more comfortable and confident, you can slowly start lowering the height of the box and increasing the weight. Now, try practicing the hip hinge movement, and over time, you can try bringing your feet closer together to maintain and improve your hamstring flexibility. The more hamstring flexibility you have, the easier the movement is, the more you're protecting your back. I would recommend doing this exercise for 10 to 15 reps, 3 or 4 times a week just to practice until you have the movement ingrained. This means you're starting to do it naturally without thinking about it. Then switch to doing it as part of a warm-up before you're about to do hinging exercises like a deadlift or an activity that requires some low lifting like cleaning out your furnace room. So now you have a good understanding of how to do the hinge movement, which is great for exercise, but what about the rest of your life? The short answer is start applying the hinge exercise to everything you do. Get your good stance right over top of the thing you want to lift, drive your hips back, letting your torso come down, grab the thing you're lifting, big breath out, and start with your torso, but quickly shift the weight to your legs. And stand up, keeping your spine neutral the whole time. Use it for lifting groceries, boxes, children's toys, golf clubs, pencils, pulling roasts out of the oven, unloading the dishwasher, picking up weight between exercises, rolling the bench out of the way, sitting down in a chair, getting out of that chair, getting a drink out of a water fountain, or the sink, much to my wife's chagrin. I could go on, but you get the idea. Protecting your back starts with the hip hinge exercise. If you can't hinge correctly, it doesn't matter how strong your core is, you risk hurting your back. That being said, now you know how to do the hip hinge correctly, so your core strength matters again. Your core is very good at supporting and protecting a neutral spine, so watch this video to maximize your core strength, or you can use the foundation you just built and take your deadlift to the next level with this one. Take care, and we'll talk to you next time.